In just a few days, gamers everywhere will be able to blast across the galaxy in Star Wars Outlaws, the brand new open world Star Wars game I've wanted basically my entire life. Brian wrote those words, but I agree with him.
I agree with him too. Here to tell us all about it is the creative director, Julian Gerighty, and star of Star Wars Outlaws, Humberly González. Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
It is so awesome to meet you. You and I have talked 100 times, but I could talk about Star Wars forever. Let's start with you. How did you develop Kay Vess's attitude, personality, all that fun stuff? Like, how did you sort of hone in on who she is as a Star Wars character?
Honestly, right from the get-go, from the first audition, even though they made us sign a million NDAs and I had no idea it was Star Wars, there was an attitude that I got from her that she uses her charm and her swagger to get where she wants to go and just take opportunities from whoever is available. So I always made sure that, she was confident enough, fake it till you make it, even if she's very flawed. So I got a bit of that, I made sure that I... He's like, she's always faking it till she makes it. But I think it naturally came to me. I love playing characters that are a little bit sassy and witty and, kind of quick to clap back.
Right.
I just kind of used like that natural attitude that came to me, and obviously the character deepened once we knew that it was a scoundrel story, that I was in Star Wars, so the tone just adds to the relevance of the world.
There's a lot of characters like that in Star Wars, so it fits right in.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear about this. When you started the audition process, you didn't know it was Star Wars. So how do they? By the way, this is going to be Star Wars. How does that come about?
It was like 5 months from the initial audition, actually. And, at first I thought it was some like cowboy western.
Yeah.
Maybe there were like robots involved or something, but I felt like, the characters were obviously like very grand and there was this air about it, but not once did I ever think it was Star Wars. And they probably thought that they were being so obvious, but I didn't.
I mean, this was part of the process with Lucasfilm Games.
Right.
We have to mask those initial scripts. So we had some that were themed as westerns and some that were themed as pirate adventures.
Oh, interesting.
And we sent those out, and the whole thing was completely masked. So we had to write different scripts just to get the casting off the ground.
Did you just come in one day and you're like, oh, by the way, that's a blaster, and you have an alien sidekick, and that's not a pirate ship, it's a spaceship that goes into space. Have fun. Welcome to Star Wars.
Pretty much.
We actually recorded the reactions of the performers who were told it's going to be Star Wars. The explosion of joy, the love of Star Wars is pretty universal. So, there is a deep connection to that world, that universe, that galaxy in general.
So nobody was like, oh man, I really like pirates.
I wish, can you change it?
Did you have a favorite moment, mocapping, doing VO, all of that? I mean, I imagine once you knew what you were getting into, you were like, okay, this is a whole new world now.
Oh, unreal. I mean, being a lead protagonist in one of the biggest franchises. And I love mocap. I've been working with Ubisoft for a few years, so it felt like I'm like a veteran in it, but this is my first lead, so I really felt ready for that role. And honestly, one of the best moments, because we don't have a set, we don't have costume or hair or makeup, you have to make believe so much, relying on the team to describe what you're looking at. But they did go above and beyond, building a trailblazer and the speeder out of like wood and pieces of metal and like neon tape. And
that's awesome.
There were times when they were like, okay, so we're gonna fly into hyperspace. So they actually moved it like a roller coaster. And I was like sitting there like, okay, we're going, ND5 ready, and I'm going, and it was like shaking, going up, and I had to hold my joy in. I think the first take it was like not good because I was like,
too joyful.
Like Kay Vess wouldn't do that.
I love that. I love that.
Let's try it
so
again.
much.
Less joy.
Yeah, they were like, make it cooler. She's cooler than,
The build of the Trailblazer in wood was half of our production budget. That was it. It was just like,
thank you.
the set.
But we sold the story, now you're going to play the game and you'll be like, the way she flew that Trailblazer. So,
right.
Yes.
I'm convinced.
And we're also joined by Nix here today.
Of course. Yes, star of the show.
Favorite character. What was the initial idea? Did you think Kay needs a sidekick? How did Nix come to be added?
I mean, working with Massive in Sweden, everything is through the lens of gameplay. So we went to first playable, and we realized that Kay didn't have that little extra spice that we needed to give her beyond her powers of, the blaster and the speeder. So, we started thinking about, okay, what could her powers be? She's not a Jedi. This is a scoundrel. This is an outlaw. So how do we make that extra long arm that can distract a stormtrooper or attack an enemy or anything like that? Flick switches from a distance. Sure. So Nyx was born through that lens, and then the soft values came. And very quickly we came up with a species that we all fell in love with that became a huge source of inspiration for the team as well. So a real team mascot as well. We all fell in love with him, but it wasn't originally part of the pitch.
Interesting.
Do either of you have a personal favorite scene in Star Wars? Like something that when you think about Star Wars, you go, that's my joint right there. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it's Jabba's palace, right? That whole first 20 minutes is my favorite.
Oh, yes.
Do you guys have that for yourselves?
The original cut or the remaster?
The original cut.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
original.
Yeah, the song's better in the original.
Yeah,
It is.
I think for me, it's the trash compactor scene.
Yeah.
In Star Wars: A New Hope. It's such a concentration of matinee action, great characters, creatures, danger, fear. There's a little bit scary, a little bit dark, but it's humorous at the same time. That is like a perfect moment for me that encapsulates everything that I love about the...
And Luke is screaming. He's like, C-3PO. There's like a snake popping. Yeah, the Dianoga. I love it. Sorry, I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yes. I can probably say the script and you'll finish it. I love you.
I know.
Wow.
And
Does he do finger guns as well?
But he pulls out his real blaster. That's the other cut of the
That's,
version.
yeah, okay.
George Lucas was constantly changing those guns. It's ridiculous.
So we're very close to release now. What are you most excited about for people to experience with Star Wars Outlaws?
I'm excited to play it.
I mean,
you know what's
me
wild
too.
is that even though I'm in it and I've said all of the words, 11,364 lines.
Wow.
Yes.
64. Perfect. Well counted. Yeah.
Thank you. I get to see the world for the first time too because we're doing mocap, right? So we don't get to see the landscapes and the creatures and the music and for me it was all like, okay, imagine this and act it, So I'm very excited to experience it alongside the audience and go on like all of the side quests. I'm very excited for those. Those were really fun dialogues, really intriguing, like funny moments that if you don't want to follow the main storyline, you get to go on these like really weird adventures sometimes. And Nyx is usually the one who's like looking at something. I'm like, what do you see, buddy? Is there something there? So make sure you pay attention to those moments.
Ooh, for sure.
Yeah.
Brian and I are both super excited to play. Thank you
Yes.
both so much for coming by the stage.
Thank you.
May the Force be with you all. Be sure to check out Star Wars Galaxy. No, Star Wars Outlaws. And it launches on PC and consoles next week.
In the whole Star Wars galaxy, though. We got tons more Gamescom right here on IGN, so don't go anywhere. And yeah, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.